Greetings, Doc John here, and I am the Entreprofessor. Welcome to the channel. I'm so excited to have a special guest today, the founder of the Stylish Vault, Delaina Pinckney. Delaina, welcome. I'm really glad you're here.
Hey there. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh, this is awesome. Well, I've been really looking forward to having you on the channel. You have such an awesome story. I'm really excited for others to hear about it. So why don't we start with the Stylish Vault? Tell us what it is and what it's about.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. So the Stylish Vault is a business that I started when I was in my graduate studies at Drexel University. And it's a business that I had started already. And being in your class, you were able to really push me and drive me to continuously test this theory on a larger scale. So the Stylish Vault is a boutique, and we specialize in very fashion forward, trendy pieces that are like captivating, eye-catching. It's not your normal staple pieces. It's definitely for that girl who's there to make a statement. She likes to be flamboyant. She's edgy. She's cutting edge, all of those things. So I was always into fashion. I did my undergraduate degree in fashion merchandising. I dabbled in fashion design. I did jewelry making. I did thrifting, distressed clothing. And then I really found my passion here. A lot of my professional career at the undergraduate was within the retail sector. So my entire career falls in retail. Like, I'm a retail girl. Retail is all I know. I love fashion. I love being immersed into it. So going through my career in those beginning years, I was able to really find which part of retail I enjoyed the most. And it was really the portion of cultivating and pulling together outfits and styling. And I found I really had a knack for it when people started to personally ask me to style them. So just continuously learning about the industry and getting involved in it, I was able to, start something of my own and pull together looks. I started on a very small scale, and the amount of responses, support that I received for not only just friends and family, but people outside of that. And I started with the pop-up shop concept. So that gave me exposure to people that didn't know me. They just saw the things I put together for the very first time. And that was confirmation that I was onto something. So I had started to figure out the puzzle and what the people like. I knew I had the eye, and I was really good at picking items and sourcing. So I really ran with that and just began to just keep myself up to date on what was current, what was trendy, what were the celebrities wearing, and waiting for that trickle down effect that we use in retail and fashion industry for it to hit the wholesale market in some type of variation, and making sure I was the first one to the market with those items. So that kept us exclusive. That kept us on the cusp of the newness. So when girls were going out shopping, they would always check with us because we were known for having exclusive new pieces. So that's kind of in a nutshell of where we started on the first half. And then we're probably going to dive more into the other things that I've done since graduating from Drexel.
Nice. Well, I already heard you starting to talk about your customer, and you and I have talked about. I love the way you really think of your customer in kind of as a persona. Tell us a little bit about that. That's a really interesting insight that you have, and I think it's really valuable.
I love my customers, and I'm just so thankful and grateful to have them because they're really the ones who's behind the success, right? If it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be anything. We wouldn't have grown as much as we did. So one of the advantages that I've had in exploring the Stylish Vault is that I've worked one-on-one in my store with the customer. I started from the ground up. I had 0 employees. I was the employee. So I was the customer facing. I did merchandising. I did buying. I did everything. And even when my family would fill in for me, the girls would be like, "Where's Delaina? I'm going to wait till she comes back." If I had to go away or anything, my customers just fell in love with me. And I think really what helped with that is I treated them all like my friend. I would greet everyone with the name girlfriend, and that just really makes them feel like we're friends. I know them, and I think that really helped me to really get to know that customer. So I would find out what she was doing this weekend and where she was going, why she was shopping. So that really helped me to learn her lifestyle, right? So now that I know her lifestyle and the things that she's into, she's traveling, she's going to brunch on the weekend, she's going to graduations, it's her birthday. Like that's her energy, that's her vibe, that's what she likes to do. I know this girl's lifestyle. So when I'm going out into the market as in sourcing and looking for new products, I'm thinking with her mindset and her lifestyle. And it was kind of similar to what I would do before I started to work so much. So I would think with that same mindset, like, okay, so this capsule is for birthdays, right? These are pieces she can wear to her birthday. It says birthday girl. It says it girl. These are things you would wear to a graduation. These are items you can wear to brunch. So I started to think in that customer's lifestyle. And I only knew that because I worked so heavily with the customer. And if it was more of a e-commerce heavy driven business, data points would definitely tell us that based on the pieces that she's selecting. But I think I like being customer facing, maybe because I'm like old school retail and I worked in retail for so many years. It's just so different. And then you're able to share your story and how you started with that customer. Those are elements that you normally won't get through like digital and things like that. So not only are they getting to meet the founder, they know my story, they get to experience like me grow from a pop-up to a retail space. So they feel like they're like invested like in this small town girl's journey. So that was so exciting and such a rewarding piece.
That's great. Well, and just I mean, I hear so many things represented in what you just described. It's like the persona of your customer. You know her well. I always hear you describe her as her. You know her well because you're talking with people every day directly and getting that feedback from them and coaching. But I love that you're looking at their whole journey map. You know, their whole like what's going on in their life and what are the different circumstances in which they're looking to you for just tips or advice or guidance or the right piece to wear at the right time. So I love that. And then just your story, just that loyalty that creates.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, excellent. So, you talked a little bit about just curating, like how you're finding pieces. Talk a little bit about how do you get that edge of like knowing what's right now or what's next, and what are some of the things you do to make sure that you're bringing the right now, image or brand or product or piece that really makes a difference.
Sure. I think it's definitely like a part of creativity within me or something that you naturally possess. I've always been very creative since like a very young age. So it always like been there in me. And other ways that I stay up to date is reading fashion articles. I go up to New York every time I get a chance. I'm connected in the industries. One of my best friends is a stylist in New York. So if she has a plus one, she's always pinging me, you want to come? And those are opportunities to get dressed. And those are opportunities to possibly be featured in blogs or people to ask you about your outfit. So when you're in those spaces, you meet other people. And when you look nice, you dress nice, that's when people approach you. They want to talk to you about different things. And then you get immersed into that world. So I definitely think you need to be placed into that industry. And then outside of that, I always been a strong believer of being a student of the business. So outside of being in the industry and immersed into it, you got to be online. You got to read articles. You got to see what the celebrities are wearing and understand how fashion has been influenced so much by the celebrities. So just staying in the know, watching the Met Galas and seeing what's on the runway, seeing what colors are trending. So also with the wholesale market, vendors are starting to roll out pre-fall. So you're get to see like what's on the market right now or what's beginning to trickle in that first wave of receipts. So I think this fall, what are they called? Race car jackets, that inspired look, that's going to be very big. Like that mustard color, army green, just those brooches made out of like silk. Like it's just so many different elements. Crochet has been a big thing since last summer. It was even bigger this spring. So I'm thinking that they're going to even rework it into a sweater in some sort of way. So I'm just curious. It's usually like whatever's trending in spring, they try to recreate it with the fall twist on it. So if it was a crochet set or tank top in the summer that was like trendy, they're going to try to put that into a sweater. So that's just something about being in the industry and knowing how wholesaling works and manufacturing. Um, yeah, camo still is still on trend. The cargos with the huge pockets. And it's not even just the cargo pants, it's going to be the cargo skirts. So it's just staying up to date on what you see, what trickles down from the runway. I think China is one of the biggest influencers of replication. So see popping onto those sites and seeing who they're replicating. They're replicating things that they know that are going to trend and that they know that's going to sell well. So I just keep my eye on everything. And I
Nice.
enjoy it. So it really doesn't seem like it's work.
All right. It's like, yeah, it seems like you're just having fun doing what you love to
Just having
do.
fun.
Yeah, that's excellent. So, talk a little bit about. I think it's really interesting to see all that you've done with social media to kind of share your ideas and your insights and to draw people in. Talk a little bit about how you've developed that channel alongside of the business.
Sure. That is not my strongest point. I'll be honest. So I have to outsource. So where I am weak, I have to get help. So I'm able to show. I have resources. I reach out to people on different platforms. Fiverr is a good one. They help out a lot. I'll show what I want to recreate or what I'm working on. I work with a photographer who's able to capture like reels and content behind the scenes. I kind of come up with um, I guess like a topic or some type of branding to build a collection around. And most recently, we did serving looks. So that was a tennis theme. Tennis is so big this summer in fashion. I don't know what it's about, but it's definitely been heavily influenced. So you'll see tennis rackets on everything. You'll see tennis club. Casablanca has several pieces in their spring summer collection, and it's trickled down. So I went with the tennis theme and I did serving looks. I had athleisure pieces and we just transitioned with hitting a tennis ball with the rack into different looks. So that was fun. That was engaging. It was exciting. So just coming out with little skits and scenarios like that and then building fashion around it, I feel as though that has worked best for me, and that's a new concept I've been trying. It keeps the customer engaged. It's a little bit of storytelling and branding pulled all together. Or even with the Barbie movie, this is a trend I wish I would have jumped on earlier. Every single retailer is doing their own spin on this, and I love to see it. Even the Hey Barbie trend, and she's just transitioning into different pink looks. So that's another one. I would say like would have been a great opportunity to jump on the bandwagon. Even Beyonce and her Renaissance tour and all the chrome pieces and those elements. Those are things that girls that shop with us, all the girlies are part of the beehive. So they want to be in formation. They want to have those pieces. But those are real life current events that are going on in the world that are relevant to our core customer. So if she's going there anyway, our job is to show her with the right stuff she needs to wear and to help her put it together where she doesn't have to think.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, talk a little bit about the sourcing, because I would think as a boutique, you're not you doing like big volumes. Like how do you, what are some of your key partners and how do you manage that?
Sure. So I source a number of ways. At first, I would just use a wholesale marketplace, and that just wasn't enough for me. Or there's so many boutiques out there, and a lot of them source from those same places. So how do you differentiate yourself from that? So as I began to get more confident in my buy, I started to reach out to manufacturers. So you're cutting out the middleman. You're getting product for a little bit cheaper. You're going directly to the manufacturer instead of through manufacturer wholesaler. So you're getting goods for a little bit less. So just see what's out there in the market. Once you kind of develop a relationship, or like how a certain retail wholesaler or manufacturer works with you, or their styles or the production that really speaks to your customer, those are probably where you're going to pull most of your pieces from. You develop good relationships. You can do that virtually through the marketplace. You can go out to LA and spend a whole day in the fashion district. There's boutique retreats that are out there. It's called Magic. They host it twice a year in Las Vegas. One's coming up right now. They have a smaller one that comes to New York at the convention center. They're free too. So I would randomly get up and just go up to New York on a Tuesday if the convention was here, just to do a walkthrough, just to see what's out on the market, just to see trends in real life. Going to New York is just so easy, and it's free to just know what's out there in the market. So there's several ways to source product through those those wholesale marketplaces. Different vendors sell on different sites. Going straight to the manufacturer, exploring Magic or any type of wholesale conventions. Those are all like places where I found pieces.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, I would love to switch now. I'd love to just go back to the very beginning. Love to hear the journey. You've mentioned you've really gone through quite a progression of different things and iterating the business model over time. And I'd love to hear that story.
Yeah, wonderful. So like I started my undergrad after college. From undergrad was a lot of in-store retail. So I really learned and developed a knack for merchandising and how product and how to put it on the floor. That's where I learned how the ins and out of brick and mortar. So I did that for a few years. I went through some retail development programs for big companies, Macy's, J.C. Penney's. So I did that for years. And then I transitioned into a regional position in cosmetics. So always working with women, always working with fashion. So I just really learned the customer, a woman's persona, how she shops, how she maneuvers, how she coordinates makeup with clothing, and how these things all go together. So I ended up getting into the corporate side of retail. I really had an analytical knack, so I got into allocations. So now I understand how product is bought from a buyer, how it's dispersed into stores, divvied up, how different regions get different product, and how it's localized. So that was the next phase. And then I went to in category management, where I learned about the planning piece. So how do the buyers get their checkbook to go out and buy clothes, and how do you know how much to purchase? So that's in that position I learned how to do each of these key parts. Then I decided to go back and do MBA. At this time, I had worked for about 10 years. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, something has got to give. I need a career change. So I always wanted to do my own thing with fashion. And then I enrolled into your course, and I just went for it. And I'm just so grateful for that opportunity, and you just really giving me that push and making me feel like you're kind of on to something. So that was the confirmation I needed, and just working with someone who made me think outside of the box. And hey, yes, pop-up shops are working for me, but how do you test this on a bigger scale? How do you give a customer more of a true inline store experience through your pop-up shop? And this was during the midst of COVID, and the world was really changing, and it looked different. We had great success, and I think a part of my career and when I had the regional position in cosmetics, I had such a large territory. And by having a large territory, I knew a lot about the Northeast and shopping behaviors. So I took that knowledge from past roles and applied it to this. And our customer segment was very similar to the cosmetics brand and what type of customers shop. So I knew what kind of markets to kind of go in and where my customer would be. So that was the first thing. Get in front of her, right? You need to be right in the place. So I started pop-up shops in Maryland. And at the time I had became really good friends with another entrepreneur. She had accessory business. So now our businesses go together, right? So I do clothes, she does accessories. That's how you build an outfit. So we tag teamed it. We started traveling, going down to Maryland on the weekends and hosting these pop ups in the midst of COVID. So it ended up going really well. I mean, far better than we anticipated. And we did that for maybe about 2 or 3 months. And I was able to make raise enough money to get my first location, and that was in South Carolina. I had no idea what I was doing. I still worked full time in New Jersey. I was remote, and I decided one time I was home during the holidays, and I saw this installation at like the local mall I went to college in, and I don't know why I had this crazy idea to reach out to them. And I showed them my vision and my concept, and they were like, "We got something for you." And I'm like, "I don't even live here. What am I doing?" This is in South Carolina. I live in Philly, and but I work remote. And I was so proud of myself for just negotiating the deal and just being so confident. If this deal doesn't work, I'm not afraid to walk. And that's what I told them all. Like, if it doesn't work, I'm walking. We worked out the terms so it would work. I ended up signing a 6-month lease without any penalties if I didn't make a certain amount of money. My rent was like $2,700. I had no idea how I was gonna make that. But I just went for it. I literally had the faith of a mustard seed, a dollar and a dream, and just passion. And I got this store together in like 3 days. So it was never challenging to merchandise and do that type of hands-on work because I came from that industry, working in big box retailing. So that wasn't much of a challenge. So we opened the store. I packed up my car, drove down south, and I lived at my parents' house. I worked a full-time job simultaneously, along with running a store 7 days a week. I was insanely tired, but it was driven by passion and just excitement that I could not believe I was doing this. I did not believe this was real life, like something that just came from an idea or a vision. I drafted up this prototype, and now this is real life. So we're submerged into the business. The amount of response that I got was crazy. I don't know what I anticipated it to be. I was just kind of going through the motions, and you know what? If it works, I only have to figure it out for 6 months. So I just kept looking at it as if it doesn't work, it's only 6 months. It's not a lifetime. And it ended up working. So I ended up staying in that retail space for about a year, and we quickly outgrew it. So after we outgrew it, I wanted to expand, and there wasn't any inline spaces in that mall for me to expand. And I still lived in Philadelphia at the time. So not only was I living in Philadelphia, paying Philadelphia bills, but I was living somewhere else too. So I had to make it make sense. So that's when I decided to come back to Philly, and we got the opportunity at King of Prussia Mall to move into a inline store. Now this is a full store, 1,700 square feet, a humongous mall with lots of options. So we moved into that space. We learned so much from operating in such a large space. I think one of the biggest takeaways in that journey was in the boutique industry, you really don't need that much space.
Yeah.
I think the most you probably need with a back of house is 1,000 square feet. And that's like incorporating back of house, stock, all of that. So we grew fast. So it just comes, it's, you learn so much, and I don't look at it as failures. Every learning is just a stab at a theory, or something you believe or you think, but it's how you recover. You get back up, and what do you do from that? So then after that, our lease ended at King of Prussia, and I decided not to renew it. It was, I don't think it was the best fit for us. And now I'm really in the stage of reflection. And over the past 2.5, 3 years, I never had a season of reflection. I was always on go mode, whether I was working my 9 to 5, doing the store, and when I was off, I was sleeping. I had to recharge. So there was no period of reflection and saying, hey, this is what works really, really well. This is what does not work well. So I made sure I took the time to reflect. As an entrepreneur, you need to make sure you're in a very healthy state of mind. You have a good mental health. You have support and people around you. So I've been calling this season the season of reflection, and I know where my passion lies. I don't think I'm equipped or my future is in a traditional work setting. And I know that about myself. And I think that it takes great power to learn that about yourself and know what setting you're in and how do you navigate there. But in the meantime, we have to work. So I continue to work, but I've always worked in an industry that would help to support what I want to do on my own, or where I could take some of those learnings and apply it to my own business. So the goal is always to secure another retail location. I love people. People are saying retail is dying, brick and mortar is dying, but I don't believe that to be 100% true. So there's a lot of opportunities, but you have to really find where's your niche, and what markets you work the best in. And I learned that by experimenting. Um, Personally, I think our business works best in southern rural cities. And I know that because I tried it, and I tried the Northeast, where there's lots of options, where there's almost every single retailer you can only imagine. The consumer has so many options. So you have to go into the right spaces. That's really what I learned from this journey, and that's really helping me to strategize on my next move and how I'm going to pivot, and what's the other things I want to do. So yeah, that's pretty much been our journey in a nutshell. It's been a wild ride. If I could do it all over, I would. I would have never chose another route. I would continuously do it. I would always choose me and bet on myself.
That's awesome. Love that. So one thing on the mechanics, and I want to talk a little bit about just the kind of managing the psychology a little bit, but the in terms of the online and e-commerce presence, I understand you had that as well. Talk a little bit about the dynamics there of that omni-channel for retail,
Yeah.
online sales, in person, and retail as well.
Yeah. So omni-channel is definitely such a great business. You have so much access to anyone, any time of the day in the whole entire world. So that was a nuance that I really had to learn, because a lot of my background didn't come from e-commerce. I had only worked a tad bit in e-com during my graduate studies, and it wasn't within retail, it was in the music industry. So I didn't have much knowledge. Our business was, I would say, if we had to do a ratio, it was probably 70/30. So 70% store, 30% online. I think that's always an area to learn and to advance and to grow with. Marketing and ads. The online customer really enjoyed when we did the campaigns, or when we had like those little skits or little storytelling. They like that. You got to learn that customer and how they engage with you and engage with your content. So it's honestly like running two different stores. So the online customer, she likes her content a certain way. The in-person customer, she wants to see customer facing. She wants you in her face. She wants you to talk to her, romance her. So you really got to understand how to cater to both of those demographics, and both of those markets. I think e-commerce is our biggest opportunity. That's the way of the future. And once you tackle that, and you can kind of look at your business as two completely different stores. You have to buy different sets of merchandise for it. You can't pull from in-store, because what if you bought too heavily in an item, but that's really your in-store customer, and the online customer really doesn't like two-piece sets, and you bought too heavily into it. So you have to really be strategic in how you do your buy and how you place your buy for these items, because that customer is different.
Yeah.
It's almost like you kind of have to simultaneously master two big chunks of business. So, how does the retail customer, you understand how the in-person customer she responds. Okay, check. Now you have to dissect and figure out how does the e-com customer respond to you and what she wants. And that's really the phase in our opportunity that we're in right now, is understanding that e-commerce customer and what does she need and what does she want. And the way that we've gone about that is I've enrolled in, I'm such a student. I am such a student. I'm always like, I need a course, I need a class, I need a resource. So I found this boutique academy, and she has a similar background as me, came from in-store retail and started her business and has really scaled her online business. Like all of her business is online. She doesn't do pop-ups. She doesn't do any customer facing. So this girl really knows e-com. So it ties back to the email marketing and how do you respond to her, because you can't like go meet her in your store. You have to understand how you speak to that customer. So it's the text messaging, email marketing, running campaigns, running ads, and posting on social media. The newest trend is TikTok, being current or what's going on with TikTok and this transitioning. So it's like it's like two different businesses.
Yeah.
So that's where my focus has been, and where we're learning the customer from that side of it, and where we've grown and where we come from. I think I understand in-person retail, but I have to master the e-commerce piece.
Nice. That's excellent. So a couple times you mentioned, working 7 days a week and, balancing lots of different things. Talk a little bit about well-being. How have you cared for yourself, and how have you kind of managed your own psychology through the ups, the downs, and all the things that you've worked on?
Yeah, so it's definitely been tough. You have to have a lot of support, and I think I performed the best when I was back at home with family. Fortunately for me, my mother had just retired, so I was the most excitement in the house. So I got all the attention. I was the family superstar, so it was all hands on deck. Everyone wanted to help me. So that is where my biggest support is. So I would recommend making sure you have a very, very strong support system in place. I always joke that I hired my mom after she retired. She processed and did all of our inventory. She tagged it. She received it. She checked it off. She examined it. So that was so helpful. And she was just doing that because she had nothing to do, because she no longer worked. So, but that was such a big help. Oh my goodness. So I could just go in and do the merchandising and be creative, upload it on the back end of the website, more of the technical things that she wasn't able to do. You have to have support. And that is the biggest thing I learned from working on the first project in Carolina and coming back here to Philly, where my support system wasn't as strong and it was so much weight on me. So you definitely have to have support there, and to free your brain to be just creative and not worry about all the technical pieces of it all. I also think you should have a therapist. I met with my therapist biweekly or whenever I needed her. She works with a lot of entrepreneurs. So I had been working with her for a while, and that's just to talk out things and just to always prioritize yourself, self-care. I don't care if it's just going to a movie by yourself. I'm big on spa days. Like I'll just go disconnect and go to the spa for a day and just hang out. And by doing that, you have the best thoughts. You're able to clear your brain. You're able to be creative. But if you're not allowing yourself to do that and your brain is so foggy, you don't produce the best work. So you gotta take care of your mental. And I always joke when people ask me about entrepreneurship, and I tell them you have to be in a healthy state of mind, because if you're not, and when things get tough, because it does, don't think it's always going to be good. You're going to crumble. And you have so much that's weighing on this. This is your passion. Sometimes people put literally all of their life savings into this to make it work. So it's so much pressure on you. And if your state of mind is already fragile, then just make sure you're in a healthy state of mind and prioritize yourself. Have a strong support system that is just as passionate about this as you are.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. So talk a little bit about what you're working on right now and what's ahead.
So what I'm working on right now, I actually just submitted a grant application for a program for minority entrepreneurships at the mall the mall property that I had in Columbia. So it's really a great program that's all about financial literacy, building generational wealth within the Black and Hispanic community. So I think my story is so compelling and so amazing. I knew about this program since 2021, and I never had the opportunity to apply, and I got to apply this year. So I'm really being hopeful and prayerful that I'm accepted into that program, and I can learn so much. The program's really great. They do a complete funding of your store build out. So that is incredible. I've done such great work, and I just really wanted to share with them all the phenomenal things I've done thus far on my own. So we're working on that. We'll hear back from that at the end of the month. I always wanted to explore mentoring and teaching. I think being in this entrepreneurial space has really opened my eyes to other individuals who are just as passionate about doing similar things as I do. I ran into so many young women wanting to do the same thing and not knowing or having the resources. So I've been mentoring one of my girlfriends. She started a designer resale handbag business, and it has been doing so great. I am so proud of her, and that's really about me using all of my past retail experiences, the things I've experienced in the store, and I'm just so thankful and grateful that they even look to me as a resource when I feel as though I'm just out here figuring it out, jumping out the window backwards and just betting on it. But they just, she reaches out to me often. She's doing so great. I just give her my honest feedback on what I think, what I've seen working in the industry for all of these years. So I've been doing some mentor. I've even explored looking into some teaching roles at universities, just to really tell my story. Because I too was a college student when I started this. So it doesn't matter where you are in life, long as you have the passion and the drive and like the tenacity to go forward and just to keep working at something and that skill set. It doesn't matter where you're at life. It doesn't matter if you're 40 in college or anything, just go for it. And I am a testament of that. So just really sharing my story and just never forgetting my goals and looking for the perfect opportunity to go back into a retail space. That takes time. It's not an overnight. You just can't jump into a store. It has to meet and check off all of the boxes. So we're working on some things to get back in store. And in the meantime, we're working on growing that e-commerce business and learning that e-commerce customer so I can speak to her persona just as confidently as I can my brick and mortar.
Yeah. That's awesome. So someone watching this wants to learn more about the Stylish Vault or follow you on social media. What are some of the ways that folks can connect with you?
I would love for you guys to follow me. So it's Instagram, The Stylish Vault. Same for Facebook. And our website is super easy, thestylishvault.com.
That's awesome. And I will put those links below in the description with this interview as well. So Delaina, this has been awesome. I love your story, and I'm so glad we had the opportunity to hear it today, and I really appreciate you being here.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And thank you so much for just believing in me and pushing me. I don't think you understand how much that has driven me throughout these years and just really fueled me to keep going and to keep trying. And now I challenge myself every day. How do you measure this on a larger scale? How do you look at this at a bigger, through a bigger lens? How do you hone in on this? So you definitely triggered my thinking and to be a more critical thinker when it comes to this and just not looking at things for face value.
Nice. Well, and you've done such a great job of taking that little idea and really expanding it into some great things. That's been really exciting.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I will say what I always say, and I even heard you say it, keep going, because you're doing some great things.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Great. Well, thanks for being here, and thanks everyone for watching. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. Love to do interviews like this. We're doing founder films, we're doing lots of cool things to just give tips and ideas and resources for entrepreneurs. So thanks for being here. Have a great day and keep going.
Thank you. Bye, guys.